Cinderella is one of the most popular fairy tales ever. A poor girl who suffers from all kinds of bad treatment by her evil stepmother and her daughters gets to go to a royal ball thanks to a never so kind magic being who tells her she must come home by midnight, since that's when the spell ends. During the ball, the prince and her fall in love. She runs off at 12 o'clock and loses her glass slipper. The prince looks for her by making every damsel try it on until he finds and marries her, potentially leaving mass chaos and a few severed limbs on the process. Ah, what a classic. Cinderella is one of the most commonly known fairy tales, and it's a simple, endearing story of sweet karma. That's what makes it the perfect target for adaptations, which is why it has a lot of those. A lot. Today we're gonna take a look at a few of them, because I honestly just want an excuse to talk about another piece of media from my childhood that just so happened to be a Cinderella movie adaptation. No, not that one. This one. The first adaptation I found is one of the most cruel ones with its introduction to Cinderella's situation. They hit her without hesitation, poor little girl, as well as the fact that this is the only adaptation where Cinderella sleeps right on the ashes because she needs the warmth of them. The story transcurs as normal, albeit a bit faster since this is an animated short film. Cinderella's animal companion here is the house cat. The mice come from the family's pumpkin field, and Cinderella doesn't interact with them at all, so she can't understand animals. She's truly got no friends here. I find Cinderella's dress absolutely adorable, it's really nice to look at, 10 out of 10. My issue comes from the prince and Cinderella's contrast in designs. I mean, without her dress and all, she looks like... what? 12? It feels so weird at one point. There's also that weird thing where the prince just doesn't chase after Cinderella when she runs off. He lets her go, just like that, without even asking for her name. Dude's literally so chill about it, not in a good way. During the shoe-fitting scene, Cinderella actually refuses being the girl who the prince danced with. And wow, some of this did go for a twist. Not only because Cinderella refuses any sort of involvement with the prince, because why wouldn't she do it in front of her abusive family? The prince recognizes her by her eyes. Oh, that is adorable. Almost made me forget that this still feels weird. Of course, things go as they tend to go and Cinderella lives happily ever after. Honestly, I thought this film was like 10 minutes long and the most horrific thing I've ever seen. Probably because I watched it when I was falling asleep on a mattress on the floor. No, I don't mean horrific as in it being bad. It wasn't bad, but the stepmother scared the hell out of me. Let me just... Alright, screamer alert in 3, 2, 1... This is what she looks like. She's not even that scary usually, she just pulls these faces that, oh my god. Now, what is this film? This film is a part of the Grimm Meisaku Gekiyo, an anime adaptation that tells one fairy tale of the Grimm brothers per episode. This is the one about Cinderella, of course, but I've seen some other adaptations of them and they are quite charming. I might cover one or two of them sometime. We follow both Cinderella and the prince's perspective, something I really enjoyed. It's also stated they're both 20 years old in this adaptation, which only means Cinderella's been through this torture for years now. On the prince's side, we got the story of a guy who's adventurous and hates his duties as a prince. I don't blame the guy. His dad made him a surprise party where all he can do is choose a partner. The guy doesn't like parties. He can't even see his partner a few times before choosing. For some reason, the prince doesn't like to shower, but in my notes I wrote down that he's kinda pretty regardless. He's one of the princes with more personality of the list, and more to his design if I'm honest. Good for him, even if that implies he doesn't like to shower. The prince and Cinderella see each other several times on different days. Both are in second place to the adaptation where they spend the most time together, which also makes it more believable that they would fall in love. This doesn't mean Cinderella sees him as herself. She asks a magic tree for the dress and the slippers she wears. Not glass slippers, normal ones, but pretty regardless. For some reason they made the choice of Cinderella hallucinating from time to time that she was dancing with the prince. I was almost worried something happened to her. She's a bit more fleshed out. I mean, she's the silly MC, but that's something I think. And her companions are pigeons, a lot of them. but mainly two that are in love with each other. They're literally so cute, I had to draw them. Throughout the days, the stepmother notices what Cinderella is doing, and she, as the reasonable and sweet and totally not creepy mother that she is, arranges to cut down the tree and locks her up. The man cutting the tree, even going as far as trying to stop and maybe hurt her once she flees thanks to her animal companions. A horde of pigeons. Seriously, where did this come from? I love how in this version the prince recognizes her face immediately and from afar too. The best prince in my opinion. Look at how softly he holds her. And this Cinderella is great too. Overall, I enjoyed this one the most. Aside from when it comes to the stepmother, of course. I really like this Cinderella adaptation because it has a lot of character. It feels so anime-ish to me. And that is such a fun detail in comparison to the rest. In this one, Cinderella finally looks and sounds like an adult. I feel like most adaptations try to make her cute to the point where she feels childlike, but here she feels a lot more adult. I also love the eldest sister's voice in the dub I watched. It scratches an itch in my brain for some reason. This adaptation is the most like the Disney adaptation. Except there's actual mentions of the foot cutting thing of the original tale. I was not expecting that honestly, and it threw me so off guard that I had to write it down. In other themes, the prince is kinda ugly, not gonna lie. I did not like him whatsoever. Cinderella deserves better. The dress was pretty clearly inspired by the setting. She's going to a ball with the rich, and I think a lot of them look like this in media. It was given different vibes from the rest, but it's alright. Aside from that, it's all the same-ish. The fairy godmother is literally the Disney one, and even makes reference to the iconic Bibbidi Babbidi Boo thing. The last notable thing to mention is the fact that she forgave the family without them putting in at least a bit of effort. And I can't blame her, but I can blame everyone else for enabling it. She doesn't need to suffer like that and forgive everyone who hurt her. She should really cut ties with her family as a whole. Finally, childhood, sweet childhood. This Cinderella adaptation is the only one that doesn't have an anime style to it. They took advantage of that to the fullest. I mean, look at these designs, dude. They're ugly. We start with this PowerPoint looking presentation. The standards are low, but the animation is decent all things considered. The motivation of the family to marry the rich is clearer than ever. They're very poor. They actually need the money. This time, Cinderella's companion is a puppy. Very cute little guy. My favorite part about Cinderella is always the animal companions. These are so cute, but the stepsisters are rough on the dog. I get they're whiny and mean and a bit dumb in this adaptation, but they didn't have to show it by them mistreating the puppy. The prince is alright, like, he's fine, but he has no personality, not my personal favorite. Cinderella's fairy godmother, oh my god, I need to talk about her. Okay, so Cinderella has both the magic tree and the fairy godmother. The tree this time is Cinderella's mother, who makes miracles to help her. It's implied she sent the puppy so Cinderella wouldn't feel lonely. And she also sends the fairy godmother to help her daughter, who is a sweet old lady, but she really needs to have her license to cast spells removed. How do you try to make a girl a crown and end up making her a clown hat? She should really be resting. Aside from this, I feel like we see very clear signs of how Cinderella is affected by being so overworked. She has recurrent nightmares about working without end. It makes me so sad, honestly. Which makes me feel real glad she left. Good for her. I don't know why I wrote down in my notes that maybe Cinderella's mistreated because she actually looks like she's got demon horns. I mean, she does. But that's real mean, dude. Here we are, a few months later to talk about the last adaptation. Cinderella Monogatari is a full-on anime series about Cinderella. There's a lot of differences, such as the fact that this time the characters are confirmed to be 15 years old. So they're marrying while being teenagers. Dude, they're younger than me. What do you mean they're getting married? Do you remember how I said the thing I enjoy the most from Cinderella are the animals? Well, here we have a dog, 2 mice, and a bird, and I didn't like them at all. I'm sorry, but if this dub wasn't so bad, I would have maybe found them less annoying. Oh yeah, the dub. I don't know how it is for the English dub, but it cannot be worse than the Spanish dub. And that makes me sad to say, because watching anime, I'll always choose the Spanish dubs over anything else. But here...
Oh no! ¿Y bien? No te quedes ahí parada. Lleva tus cosas al desván. Te verás muy bien con ese vestido. Estoy segura que te quedará como un guante.
Apresúrate a subir tus cosas, Cenicienta. Nos estorban en el corredor.
There's a lot of story to this show, a lot of characters I can talk about too, but we don't have all the time in the world for that in this video, so I'll only cover a few highlights I like. Can I say that even though I like this prince more than the norm, I actually like his impersonator better? Is that mean? I love this guy and the horse that turns into the prince in that one episode to death, I'm sorry. Some other characters I'd like to mention are this guy who can literally see the future but nobody believes in him, because how would you believe Cinderella is gonna become a princess married to a man she doesn't even know? The princess assistant who, are you seeing this? And the sisters. I love these two in this adaptation because we see a lot more depth in them, which is crazy for Cinderella as we all know. But here I get to generally feel bad for them and see their 3 sisters suffering all in their own unique ways and realizing that they are together in this. Oh, I wish this was kept for the ending, it would have been crazy. This is an inverted Cinderella, by the way. The prince hides his identity from her, both thinking they are usual everyday people until the final arc, where Cinderella breaks down because she realizes she fell in love with a person that doesn't even exist over the past few weeks or even more. That's where the traditional tale comes into play and Cinderella goes to the ball, disguised as someone else. Don't know if I dig the dress, but it's alright. The animal companions becoming human honestly felt like nothing really changed, and the stepmother's cat becomes part of the humans even though she never really did anything in their favor beforehand. It's not like they needed her. We had the exact number of companions already, which is why I find the fact that they turned the bird into a feather in Cinderella's hair brutal. But going into nicer thoughts, I love the talk the prince and Cinderella have here. He really starts yapping to this quote-unquote random woman about how she resembles a girl he likes. And after a few misunderstandings and the relationship healing comes the wedding, with an extended plot where the couple is almost killed by the enemies of the state, and the main villain, not the stepmother, dies falling off the roof of the castle. Cool. But even with all of this content, I don't really care about all of it. I'm only interested in Paulette and Francis, Cinderella's fairy godmother and mom. They have a vibe to them and their backstory together. A really specific vibe. Paulette cares so much and helps out Cinderella as much as she did because of her late best friend.